Leslie Givans, who went by the name Teely, was a 25-year-old man from Kingston, Jamaica. On May 17, 2019, Leslie was eating at a restaurant when he was approached by a man. The two of them had a brief, friendly conversation, but then things quickly took a turn for the worse. Leslie and the suspect began arguing, and then the suspect pulled out a gun. The suspect fired the gun several times, and Leslie was struck twice. He was rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately, he passed away a couple hours after the incident. The police did find and arrest the suspect. However, I couldn't find any more information about his name and if he was ever convicted of murder. Elizabeth Barraza was a 29-year-old woman from Tomball, Texas. January 25, 2019, started off as a normal morning. Elizabeth's husband went to work, and after that, Elizabeth started preparing for a garage sale at her house. While she was setting up everything, somebody walked up to her. Elizabeth said good morning to the unidentified person. Sadly, there was no way for her to know what was going to happen just a few seconds later. The suspect shot Elizabeth 3 times at point-blank range. Elizabeth then fell to the ground. The suspect stepped over the body and fired one more shot, then fled the scene in a truck. Sadly, Elizabeth passed away the next day. Detectives believe that there were at least 2 suspects, but they are still unidentified to this day. Detectives do have some people of interest, though. They also believe that it was not a random incident and that Elizabeth possibly knew her killer. Some neighbors believe that they saw that same truck in the area around 2 a.m., which was just a few hours before the murder. It's possible that they were just driving by to case the house. The suspects came back several minutes before Elizabeth's husband left for work and waited for the opportunity to strike. Soon after the murder, the suspects were seen driving back past the house to possibly make sure that Elizabeth was dead. There is currently a $20,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. Tyquan Eversley was a 21-year-old man from Brooklyn, New York. Tyquan was believed to be a part of a gang called Very Crispy Gangsters. On March 19, 2019, a rival gang called Rockstars spotted Tyquan and started chasing him. Tyquan ran for his life and even hid behind cars in an attempt to get away. However, some witnesses pointed Tyquan's location out to the suspects, and the chase was on again. In that video, you saw Tyquan jump over a fence, but what you don't really see is that after he jumped, he got caught in a barbed wire fence. One of the gang members, Michael Reed, threw a boulder at Tyquan while he was stuck in the fence. Another gang member, Donovan McDay, shot Tyquan several times. Tyquan was rushed to the hospital but was pronounced dead. A total of 10 people were arrested for his murder. However, charges were dropped against 4 of the people because they were just witnesses and were not a part of the gang. The witnesses did not do anything to try to help Tyquan, but there is no law in New York saying that a bystander has to risk their own life to try to save someone else's. McDay and Reed were both charged with murder, along with 4 other people, Shakur Huff, Alfred Cooks, Ramel Briggs, and Rakeem Smith. All 6 of them are awaiting trial. Leandro Lopez was a 31-year-old man from Miami, Florida. On March 24, 2019, Leandro was riding passenger in a pickup truck with his friend David Paneke, who was driving. David drove to the roof of a parking garage. Once the truck was parked, Leandro got out of the truck and approached David by the driver's side of the truck. Things quickly escalated, and David, who was armed with a gun, ambushed Leandro. After David aimed the gun at Leandro, Leandro tried to grab the gun from David, and the two briefly fought over the gun. However, David overpowered Leandro. Then the two started arguing. It appears that Leandro was trying to explain something to David and defuse the situation. Unfortunately, there was no reasoning with David. David shot Leandro 3 times at point-blank range and killed Leandro. David then gets back in his truck and quickly drove away. David was arrested several days later and charged with first-degree murder, armed robbery, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty since David committed capital murder. Back in 2008, David went to prison for attempted murder and armed robbery. Once released from prison, he was ordered to be deported back to Cuba, but Cuba refused to take him back. He was then released by ICE under a court order of supervision.